Warning, this video and all other videos on this channel are for entertainment purposes only. The content of this video and all other videos on this channel are the opinions of the creator only and do not constitute legal, trading, investment, or financial advice of any kind. Investing carries a high level of risk and the majority of retail clients lose money. Do not invest in capital unless you understand the risks and you are prepared to lose it all. Oh dear, alright, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and we live in a simulation, I'm sure. I was on this dog walk this morning and I was thinking, I really don't have anything to say. I planned a fishing trip at 2 o'clock, so me and my brother are going to go fishing, and I get back to pandemonium in my Twitter notifications and DMs. I've even had a bunch of people text me and interrupt my dog walk to say, did you see all these cyber attacks and blah blah blah. So yeah, it's a wild time to be alive. The Camel Crew, obviously, we know. We've known about this stuff for a long time. Anyway, I first wanted to point out a couple of things, okay? So as I said, I'm going fishing later. Historically, when I go fishing, markets tend to crash. So we'll see. We'll see if that continues. But the reason I'm going fishing is because there's really nothing to do. We're waiting for cycle lows in the stock market still. We are still waiting to see if gold will give me that weekly cycle low. It looks like it's going to, which is really, really nice. As I was saying to the members, I hope to be stopped out of those positions so that I can get behind a full weekly cycle. So it looks like I'm going to get my wish there. And Bitcoin, we're just waiting to flag out and hopefully move higher. So it seems like the opportune moment to go fishing. I wanted to touch on this third angle thing really quickly because a bunch of people seem to be quite confused about this. And I guess if you've been here before, if you tune in every day, then this is no surprise to you. But this third angle has been termed a temporary third angle the entire time. It's also been referred to once or twice as a side chick of an angle, okay? So if you're new here, a lot of people are saying, well, your third angle's violated already, that's it, it's the end of the world, you know, all of the narratives. But ultimately, this has always been the case. We're waiting to see where this cycle low forms, because if it actually forms on the second, then it means the third angle has not formed at all yet. So this is just a temporary warning sign. It's actually encouraging that it has taken this long in the daily cycle to break down. In terms of the third angle violation, yes, this is a temporary third angle violation, but we have never been committed to this. I've said a bunch of times we're not committed to this, and we are waiting to see the next daily cycle low. Once we've got that daily cycle low, then we can talk about finding a third angle to wifey, a third angle to commit to, and from there we will be respecting trendline breakdowns. But now is not the time, okay? So if you're stressing about this, there's nothing wrong with taking profit here, okay? If you wanted to close this on a trendline break, there's nothing wrong with that. But as I've been saying over and over again, this has always been a temporary third angle, and we're not going to be looking to commit to one until a little bit later in life after we've found this cycle low. For now, we are somewhere in this neighborhood of 33-ish days. So looking for a 36 to 40 day swing, and then we will be looking to get behind that, move stops up, even add some exposure. And from there, we will be looking for committing to third angles. So I hope that clears up the confusion about the third angle. So as I was saying, I didn't really have much to say. I was going to point at this and just kind of make a joke of it, because look, that's not the definition of a left translated cycle, okay? It actually means that we top out before the midpoint of the 4-year cycle, which is late November. And this guy replies with, I disagree with your definition. So I was just going to point at this and laugh, right? It really doesn't matter. I don't think we need to worry about this kind of thing. The less people that understand this, the better, frankly.
Because that's not the definition. That is not the definition.
One of my all-time favorite clips, that. One of my all-time favorite clips. So yeah, same energy, right? Same energy. That's not the definition. Anyway, I think we really have bigger fish to fry today, because I don't know if you know this, but we've got global outages, okay? Major banks, media, airlines have all been affected by this major IT outage. We are seeing significant disruption to some of the Microsoft services. An interesting number of services have been disrupted, okay? Coincidence? I don't know about you. I'll let you be the judge of that. And even the London Stock Exchange has been disrupted. Now, I should probably say that yes, this is expected, especially if you're part of the Camel Crew. Yes, we are probably going to see this sort of thing continue to proliferate for a while, and I should make it clear that this is not the big enchilada. Okay, this is not the final hoedown. This is not the things that people are worried about the most. Okay, when it is time, you will have no time to react. We won't be able to sit here and have videos. We will have a global coordinated thing, and the power will go out, your phone will stop working, and you won't have anywhere to look for answers, okay? That's the reality of the situation, but that time is not yet. That time is significantly out into the future. All of this stuff kind of functions as warm-ups, as pilot tests, as test runs, and like I said, you're going to keep seeing it, okay? You're going to keep seeing it for a while, but when it is actually time, okay? When it is actually time, it will be a coordinated global thing, and you won't have anywhere to turn. You won't have anywhere to look. You won't have any internet, any phone access, anything like that, okay? The best thing you can hope for is to shelter in place when when it is time. But like I said, we're not going to worry about that now because that is many, many, many months away. Okay, so if you're stressing about this, just understand, it's normal, it's to be expected. It's going to keep happening for a while, localized pockets, remember, and then from there, like I said, at some point in the future, of course, I'll warn you when we get closer to that, then it will be time, okay? It will be reset time. But like I said a million times, that time is not yet. This whole thing has also affected a bunch of airlines, okay, including these ones listed here. So that's kind of interesting. There's another clip here as well. And again, that number comes up, which is, I don't know, man. I don't know. What are the chances? Is it just me? Let me know in the comments. Also, we've got a hilarious headline today from the Telegraph. Short Europe, short oil, short humanity, embrace for a deflationary bust. So I think they're starting to become part of the Camel Crew as well, okay? They're starting to figure this out. But of course, no one's going to listen to this because inflation is sticky and no sign of any rate cuts and oil to the moon, right? No one really knows. No one's going to pay attention to this. But we also are living through this wild time at the moment of insane speculation, okay? Now, this headline right here catches a lot of people's eyes. A lot of people on big accounts retweeted it with their own little images. But there has been some speculation, some rumors that this guy is going to announce a USA Bitcoin strategic reserve. And now I'll say this is clearly not going ahead just yet, but it wouldn't surprise me if this narrative becomes more commonplace. Now, the reason I say that is if this was true, the insiders would know about it and this would already be reflected in Bitcoin's price. This would be being priced in. Bitcoin would be going parabolic. If the US government was going to add Bitcoin to its strategic reserve, then you better believe that we'd already be clear at the all-time highs, okay? Wall Street, the insiders, BlackRock would already know and we would already be pricing this in, which we're currently not. So I would say that there is absolutely no credibility or merit to this idea at the moment. But it would not surprise me, as you're going to see in a bit, if this becomes some kind of narrative, because it doesn't even have to occur. The market in aggregate just has to believe it will. And again, Bitcoin's price will start to price this in. It will start to reflect this. So this guy says it's not a joke. His sources are credible, but there's no sources. Okay, so trust me, bro, right? But I am noticing a theme here. And remember, I have no stance here. I don't really care. I'm just an objective observer, okay? I like to just sit back and watch this whole thing unfold like it's a play. Because the moment you pick a side, the moment you give your energy to it is the moment you lose, okay? The way to win, the way to go your own way is to abstain from choosing a side and just become an objective observer. But as I do that, I notice there's a whole heap of this kind of stuff going around at the moment, okay? He's saying things like he doesn't want to be responsible for another country taking over this whole Bitcoin sphere, this whole Bitcoin and crypto space. He's saying things like he doesn't want China to get a leg up on the US, so he's going to be pro-Bitcoin. We're seeing the Winklevoss twins, okay, the Gemini exchange founders, sending 16 Bitcoin worth $1 million to a pro-Bitcoin candidate aiming to unseat Elizabeth Warren as the US senator. So we're at this wild time where now the people that are behind Bitcoin, now the people that have gotten in early are trying to protect their investment. They've got enough money to start to play the same game that the insiders play. And that is that you buy the seats, you buy the laws, you buy lobbying campaigns, and you do this through donations, right? And now we're seeing that Bitcoiners are doing this with Bitcoin. So they are fighting back. They're playing the same game, but they're using Bitcoin to do it, right? Which is pretty wild. And so going back to this, like I said, there's no evidence of this whatsoever at the moment, and we would see it in the chart if there was any credibility to this whole idea. But like I said, I would not at all be surprised if this is what ends up driving that third and final angle in Bitcoin, if this is what ends up driving the fifth wave higher. Remember, it's not important what actually happens, it's important what the market in aggregate believes will happen. So just saying this and then doing nothing about it is likely enough, assuming it comes from credible sources, not this dude, to drive Bitcoin's price into oblivion. So I think what I'm seeing here as an objective observer is the insiders start to play a game. And the game they're going to try to play, I think, is to convince everyone that this thing has staying power, that this thing's going to be adopted by the government, that this thing's going to become a world reserve asset or back the US dollar. And I do think these things are possible in the much longer term. But first, what they've got to do, I think, is convince everyone this is happening immediately. That drives that massive fear-driven fifth wave, sets that third angle, and then we have this extended bear market decline, which allows BlackRock to accumulate a lion's share of the supply ahead of the next cycle lows. And it's the next cycle that I believe we will actually see real change come in, real adoption, and all of the stuff that we are speculating might happen at this moment in time. I don't think any of this stuff is actually likely to occur until such time as BlackRock has about a third of the supply. And the only way they get the third of that supply, in my humble opinion, is they blow this thing off to a huge number, walk it down for an extended bear market over about 2 years. This 2-year bear market will cause everyone to give up on it, everyone to assume the 4-year cycle's dead. All those people that can't define left translated won't even know what they're talking about, right? And all the way through here, BlackRock will just buy every single Bitcoin that people sell. By the time they get down here, I suspect they've got their 30% of the supply. And then it will be time to moon this thing. Then it will be time, if it's going to be used for something like this, to actually implement that. But like I said, as an objective observer, I can see that this kind of stuff, okay, this doesn't go undetected, okay, and people won't, generally speaking, look at this objectively and say, well, not much is going to happen, okay. People will use this stuff as a narrative. Remember, just going back to the last cycle low and the shot that was fired at this guy, half of the market or more was attributing this latest cycle low to that event, okay, when we were saying the whole time, you know, it's nonsense. We knew the cycle low was coming ahead of time. It's nothing to do with this. So it is indeed a wild time to be alive. I'm sure this stuff's going to continue. I'm sure the blackouts and all of this stuff is going to continue as well. But like I said earlier, you know, don't worry about it for now, okay? Just focus on the charts. I get a lot of questions as well, not only about this third angle thing, but also about, Camel, where do I hide in the bust? Where do I protect my capital? Okay, one day at a time. For now, we've got to go up first, okay? We've got to go up significantly higher in both the stock market, in gold, in Bitcoin, in crypto, you hope, if you're an altcoiner. And then we've got to find the top. Then we've got to sell the top. Then we've got to convert it to cash, I would think, pay taxes. Okay, then we've got to pay the taxes, wait for a nice setup, wait for something to show up, wait for this to truly be confirmed as the top, okay? Because of course we might have to play a bounce on the way down just in case that's not the top. And then once we're in this neighborhood, okay, then we can start to worry about where to hide, how to protect ourselves. There's no rush. For now, okay, we could be looking at some huge upside gains, and the focus is, let's get out near the top, okay? That's the big focus. How high can it go? Can we identify the top? Can we sell? Can we get some shorts on? And then can we wait for confirmation that that really was the top? Then we can talk about looking for opportunities to reallocate the capital. In other news, okay, as of next week, I think it is, which is Tuesday, we should have the ETH ETFs launching. So will that be a liquidity driver? Will this be a sell the news event? We're going to find out, but it's probably not going to be a non-event. And the US spot Bitcoin ETFs just hit a new all-time high of more than 900,000 Bitcoin. So that's not nothing either, right? There is demand for these products, and we're probably going to continue to see this thing move higher over the coming weeks and months. Meanwhile, I like the chart setup for Bitcoin a lot. Okay, I've been talking about this over and over. ABC into that weekly cycle low, looking for a big push, a big squeeze, a third and final angle to come in, and then hopefully a left translated cycle top. I think that's still the base case. I know a lot of people don't like it. It's going to be later than I expected, I would think, but it's still not going to be too far from November, I would have thought. A couple months either side. It's good enough for me anyway, so long as I can get out at the top. I think this is a structure I'm looking for personally. Okay, weekly cycle low, a bit of chop here, and then explode, and off we go. And remember, the doomsayers are still out in full force. We're seeing a whole heap of people say things like, how do you explain this? Okay, this is really bad. The Magnificent Seven has erased a combined 1.1 trillion. Oh no, oh no, oh no, right? But the Camel Crew and everyone else knows, right? We're right in that timing window to see a daily cycle low. We're probably going to get a counter trend bounce here. Something like this. 2 drives into that cycle low and then find a third angle. So as you can see, not a lot is going on. It feels like a lot if you lose. If you lose by giving your energy, by picking a side, by going down rabbit holes and trying to figure out, be a Sherlock Holmes investigator, all of that stuff, okay? Just be an objective observer. This, okay, this little pullback in the S&P, when we zoom out, okay, is invisible. It's invisible. It's so negligible that it doesn't bear concern at the moment. Lose a second angle, as always, that is our invalidation level, but we're miles away from it. Like I said, we're probably going to get counter trend bounce first, then a rollover and go. And again, if you're part of the Camel Crew, okay, we knew this cycle low was coming. The arrows have been here. We know when the next one is too, okay? So it's not the end of the world. The NASDAQ is selling off slightly harder, okay? But then again, it's the NASDAQ. That's what it does, right? It moves more. So again, we're probably going to get some kind of counter trend bounce here, touch of resistance, roll over cycle low and go, and then we'll be looking to commit to third and final angles. I'm saying the same thing over and over again. You can see why I wanted to go fishing today. Dow Jones retest third angle, that makes sense as well. And the Russell needed to have some kind of pullback, right? But overall, does it change much when we zoom out? No. The plan is the plan, and we stick to the plan. Like I said, with Bitcoin, still long and strong, still looking for some kind of flag to come out of here, and then it should be third and final angle time in the not too distant future, particularly driven by this whole government narrative, this whole US backing Bitcoin and all of that kind of stuff. So I would think something like that is about to go down, which is going to cause this third and final angle, or at least be attributed to that third and final angle. The Dixie appears to have found a cycle low, okay? So counter trend bounce. The big question for me is, does this cycle low fail? Because if what we see is a counter trend bounce, couple of days, a rollover to undercut that low, classifying it as a failed cycle, then we have an actual chance of finding a 3-year cycle low. But if this holds, okay, and we don't take out that low, we do something like this, then that, for me, 100% confirms that is the 3-year cycle low. It 100% confirms that all the people calling for a lower dollar are flat wrong. They're not going to get it. We are going dollar milkshake, deflationary bust, and there's nothing anyone could do about it. So super interesting to see how this is going to play out over the next few sessions. Yields are still pricing in Fed cuts, okay? So unless this thing starts to really rip higher, unless we see something like this break out of that downward slope in red, then this yellow squiggle will approximately start to play out, and we will be calling a Fed bluff here. We will be telling the Fed that they are going to be cutting very, very soon. The market has currently priced it for September at the latest. I would speculate we may even see it sooner than that, particularly if the bond yields confirm that by getting down into this neighborhood here. And last but not least, the metals. So I was talking about this to the members. I was saying, look, I have to respect this breakout. I have to respect this breakout in case this thing is going to morph into something like this, right? In case it's going to morph into something like this, break through the range and then go, I needed to have some exposure here. But at the same time, I said I really didn't like the setup on the weekly time frame. Week 16 did not seem correct for me. It didn't seem right, it didn't feel right, it didn't look right on the weekly time frame. So I had to kind of hedge long here, hoping to be stopped out. It looks a lot to me like we're going to get it. It looks a lot to me like we're going to get stopped out. Happy days, undercut, weekly cycle low, and then full exposure here. By the time I get in on this weekly cycle low confirmation and we get back to this entry, then I will have paid for the 2 stops that I've paid, this and another position we had in the member section. And I will also have 100% confidence that we've got a true weekly cycle, okay? We'll be looking for something like this to come out of here, and then it should actually be time to see that fractal come to fruition, probably something more like this out of that weekly cycle low. And again, we'll be looking for a big, big squeeze here to around 3K gold. So I hedged my bets. I covered myself against all possible outcomes. If this thing was going to rip, then I had my exposure. And I said the whole time, happy to see a weekly cycle low decline here. So looking for a good flush, even below these lows, and then a nice swing in a reversal. And it should be time to get back to full exposure and catch this move. So happy days there. And there's really nothing else to say, right? Time to go fishing. We got some really nice sunshine. So just as a quick recap, okay, cycle low to be expected in the stock market. We're well on our way to that now. Should be able to find one next week, I would have thought. Also, seems like we're going to get their perfect dream setup of mine to catch a lower low, a weekly cycle for the precious metal markets. Going to get a bunch of positions on in the member section, and happy days there. So that's also really nice. I was really, really hoping to be able to get better entry, and I couldn't get to full exposure on the current setup. So now I will be able to get to full exposure. Happy days, right? A little bit more patience for both the stock market and for the metals markets. For crypto, again, a little bit more patience while we flag, and then we should be looking for an upside squeeze. And I'm also going to be, like I said earlier, trying to be as objective of an observer as possible as I start to just point at things and say, that looks an awful lot like they're trying to manipulate the masses using X, Y, and Z technique, or using this character or that character. So kind of expecting that stuff to ramp up. Also, on the wider implications for the whole, you know, blackout, cyber attacks, all of that good stuff. Okay, like I said earlier, don't sweat it right now. Honestly, it's not a problem. I mean, I guess if you're at one of these airports and there's a blackout, then that is that's a problem for you, right? But it's a localized problem, and that's the point. It's localized. The time is not yet, as I said. We're going to keep seeing it. We're going to keep tracking it. And like I said, when it is time, okay, when I think we're getting close to the big enchilada, to the final hoedown, I'll let you know. But again, the time is not yet. We've got plenty of time first. So don't give your energy to it. Don't get suckered in. Have a fantastic weekend. I will do a deep dive video tomorrow as always, and a level 3 member update, because there's going to be a bunch of positions to get behind next week. Other than that, I hope you are doing well in life, and until next time, take care from me. All the best. Have a great weekend. Cheers. Bye.